surname, username, your learner number, and the learning partner's name. So when you rename this, okay, so first there should be your surname, then your first name, then your learner number and your learning partner's name. For example, a learner called Dominic Towlson, the learner number 1235678, who has taken the course with learning partner called GMTA, he will name their submission as follows. He will call his submission as Towlson Dominic. So the surname is coming first. Okay. For example, my name is Furkan Ali. I will write Ali Furkan. Okay. So Towlson Dominic, then the learner number, and then the learning partner name. Okay. So let me just close this and show you how to rename this file. So you will name it, rename it at, if your name is ABCXYZ, you will write XYZ ABC, then your learner number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then your learning partner's name SAFETY, Safety World ME Consultants. So this is how you need to rename the file. Or if your name is, let's say, Furkan Ali, I will write Ali FURQAN and then the learner number and the learning partner's name. Okay, so guys, this is how you need to rename the file. Okay, now we are clear with the renaming of the files. Let me just get back to the answer sheet. Okay, so you put in your learner name, Furkan Ali Haider or ABCXYZ, or then your learning number, then your learning partner name. Now here, you will have to then type your answers in this table. Don't write outside. In fact, it will not allow you to write outside. Okay, so then you do all of this, you do this, and in the end, you write the total word count. Word count you can get over here at the bottom of the page. Look at the bottom of the page. Here it will tell you how many words are there. 322 words. Okay. It will show you here how much words are there. Okay. So this bottom of the page, you can see how much words are in this file, and you will copy this information over here in total word count. Okay, so this is how you need to do the word count. Then you just mention your documents and sources of information that you use for the examination. Just write your course notes, hsg, hse.gov.uk, ilo.org. 2 or 3 references will be more than enough. Okay, but don't worry about this. Nobody has been failed for not writing the appropriate references. Okay, this does not carry any marks, but just mention a few references that you used. Okay. Okay, now let's get back to the question paper. So now, and the question paper, it has a scenario. The scenario here is that you have recently moved to a new job and you are now responsible for health and safety at large busy retail store that is located on the outskirts of a large town served by good roads. The store sells do-it-yourself and hardware goods such as tools, equipment, and hazardous chemicals to local businesses and the general public. The organization that owns the store has 100 stores nationally and 10 stores in your area. Now, the main part of the store is open to customers to view and buy goods. At the back of the store, through an automatic opening door, there is a large warehouse where stocks of goods are arranged on it, racks and shelvings. Only store workers are allowed to go in the warehouse. Warehouse workers use forklift trucks, FLTs to move goods and delivery trucks into the warehouse when the store is closed to customer, the goods are moved into the main part of the store to restock the shelves. So basically there are two parts of this workplace. One is the open store where customers come and they look at stuff and they buy stuff. And one is the large warehouse where there is the material is stored. Okay. Okay. Now you report to the overall store and warehouse manager, and the workforce consists of 20 workers, including two shift supervisors split equally between two 12-hour shifts. So there are two shifts here. One shift is from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening, and the other one is 8 o'clock in the evening to 8 o'clock in the evening on rotational basis, 4 days on and 4 days off. Since you started your job, you have seen a lot of examples of rule breaking in the warehouse. For example, you have seen goods stacked in aisles and blocking designated walkways. So workers are stocking the goods in the aisles and they are blocking designated walkways. Workers have to avoid many obstacles as they walk through the warehouse, causing them to step into the vehicle routes. So people are stepping into the vehicle routes. Workers have told you that there are a number of frequent near misses between the forklift trucks and workers and collisions with products causing damage and spillages. There are no written records of any of these. Okay, so many accidents have happened in the past, many incidents have happened in the past, but there were no written records. So the near misses are not being recorded. There have been many injuries recorded over the year. Most recently, a repeat of more serious collision occurred involving a young forklift driver. It means that there have been many injuries previously as well. Okay, and this is a repeat of more serious injuries. Okay, and this was a collision involving a young forklift truck driver. The brakes were applied too late as the driver was distracted by their mobile phone. The forklift truck skidded on oil spillage and knocked the goods over onto the passing worker. On this occasion, the worker's leg was broken when he required urgent hospital treatment. The hospital is 5 miles away from the store, and the worker is expected to take to be off work for 6 weeks to recover from the injury. So the worker is going to be off work for 6 weeks to recover from the injury. So he will not be working for 6 weeks. The injured worker is seeking legal advice in order to make a claim for compensation. So here's another financial thing coming from the for the company. Okay, worker absence and turnover is high in the warehouse. So basically, worker absence is when people are absent from work, they don't come to work, and they're not interested in working. And the turnover is high. Turnover means people are leaving your organization. People are not staying long with your organization. So the turnover is high. There are no health and safety worker representatives. Warehouse workers have told you that they have complained to the management about working conditions many times. They rarely see the management in the warehouse, and you cannot find any written record of complaints. Okay, so here's another problem. The warehouse workers, they complain to the management about working conditions many times, but their complaints are not being addressed because the management is never seen in the warehouse, and you can't find any written records of the complaints either. You have tried to convince the overall store warehouse manager that something needs to be done to improve health and safety in the warehouse. You are told that there is no money for that kind of thing. Okay, so there is another lack of commitment from the management. And even if it were available, it would cause too much disruption to the business. So they are giving more priority to business than health and safety. As a result, the forklift of collision, you were visited by a labor inspector who has made a formal order that requires workplace changes to improve the health and safety of the workers. The inspector thinks it is only a matter of time before workers are more seriously injured and even killed in the warehouse. The inspector also observed that the written risk assessments are too general and they do not reflect the actual risk in the warehouse. The inspector wants to see more effective health and safety management system at their next visit. You discuss with the inspector possible improvements to the health and safety in the warehouse. The proposed solution involves segregating forklift trucks and workers with barriers. So this is the best option to prevent accidents, to separate the vehicles and pedestrians. pedestrian walkways, designated crossing places, and separate entrances for the workers and forklift trucks. In addition, you tell the inspector that you will review the health and safety performance internally and externally in order to make comparisons. Okay, so this was the scenario. So this is a one-page simple scenario. Now, here are the questions that we need to answer. Task number one is justifying the health and safety improvements. So here you need to read the question, read the note, and then answer on the answer sheet. Now the question here is, what financial arrangements can you use to justify the proposed recommendations to segregate the forklift trucks and the workers? You should support your answer where applicable using relevant information from the scenario. Okay, so this is the question, guys. Now you need to give financial arguments to convince your management. Okay, and you have to get information from the scenario where applicable. How many marks does it carry? It carries 10 marks. Okay, so very easy question, guys. Now let's look at the standard answer for this question. Okay, so this was the answer sheet. So I've typed my name A, B, C, X, Y, Z, or whatever the name is, type it here. 00123456 is the learner number. TWI or whatever the institute name is, you can write here. Okay, now question number one is justifying safety improvements. Now, as I told you, the question carries 10 marks. So you need to mention 10 financial arguments to convince the management. Okay. Now, question number one, the answer it starts with an opening statement which says, it might seem that the cost will incur in putting in place the proposed control measures is high, but in light of the recent accident, the costs incurred are much higher than the cost of the proposed control measures. Now, what are the arguments are given? First financial argument given is regarding medical cost. Okay, so as we know that in the recent accident, the injured worker was hospitalized, which obviously cost the company a lot of money, which could have been saved if the accident was avoided by having the proposed controls in place. Okay, so let's read the question again. The question is, what financial arguments you could use to justify your proposed